This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hello and welcome to the dynamic SimRacersWorld GT series live on the iRacing Esports Network presented by Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me this evening is Marco Barbonet and we're here at Montreal, the legendary Canadian circuit, of course, for round 2 of this championship. One of the new things I'm going to do on these intros is introducing my co-commentator Marco Barbonet with a little bit of a description of him. And Marco started out commentating on this series, not saying much of the championship, and so excusably didn't know what he was talking about. But after covering hours of racing, he's transformed into someone who has seen much of the series and still inexcusably doesn't know what he's talking about. Marco, welcome, and very pleased to be here for race 2 of the season on the iRacing Esports Network, of course. And race 1 at Spa was extremely entertaining. I think we're going to be in for similar action tonight.
Absolutely, hopefully. I mean, I gather that these are cars with 4 wheels and running around in circles. And hopefully the aim of the game is to keep the car away from the walls and crossing the start-finish line first. And from what I gather, Maarten van Loozenhoort is very good at this. Champion last season, winner of the Media Day race in Daytona, winner last week at Spa, and certainly his team Rev Match Esports have been absolutely dominating and working together as a team, despite usually when you have such a dominant driver, other drivers of the teams may go into second or third fiddle to the rest of the to the top driver, but not in this case, because they are growing together. Maarten and the other top guys of the team are really creating a nice atmosphere, and it's the job of the other teams, Fury, Meraki, of course, SimRacersWorld, Dynamics, all these other guys, Nomad, etc., to find a solution. And today in Montreal, it's a track where anything can happen. Mistakes, walls, they are so close. I think we are in for a very, very, very tough challenge for all the drivers involved in the 3 classes, Sam.
Yeah, it will be a fantastic challenge. Anyone who's seen the Formula 1 races, undoubtedly this place mainly used for Formula 1. There's really not many other series. I recall, I believe in 2010, the track hadn't been used in a year, and that was part of the reason why the tyres degraded so much. And but it's still great whenever we visit here. And of course, on the sim racing or on iRacing, it is much easier to pop down here. And trust me, personally, this is my favorite track to drive. It's just so fun, getting closer and closer to the barriers every lap. And it's good in every single car as well. Single seats as GTs as these guys are racing, prototypes, probably even stock cars as well. This place really is a great fit, and to race around here as well is also absolutely superb. Here's the man to beat Martin van Loozenord, as Marco was saying, the defending champion, and he also leads the championship. Kevin van der Slik, his teammate, is second in the championship. Remember, this is only the second round of the championship, so this is just by the points of Spa last week. Matthias de Tige had a really good third place in his BMW. Maybe that BMW will be even stronger around this place. Certainly Spa, one of its weaker circuits. Marvin Amont is in fourth on his return to the series. And Tom Methel rounds out the top 5. But, I mean, yeah, second round of the season. We got a long way to go. By the way, leader in the silver category is Nick Shermans, and leader in the bronze category is Thies Berg. And anyone who didn't see the bronze class finish to last week at Spa, after you, of course, watch this, or maybe in the next 10 minutes before we get the race underway, pop back at that. It was rather entertaining, to say the least. We've also been given the opportunity and also the obligation today to give the driver of the day. We're going to be looking out for drivers to make lots of overtakes, perhaps do a superb pass, come from the back of the field to the front of the field, pay us hundreds of dollars, any of which will really boost their chances in that award. So watch out for that one. Of course, if you've got anyone who you think is doing a good job, we know Lewis Ward, I'm sure, will get many votes from his fan club, but many other drivers. If you've got any ideas who should be the driver of the day, let us know on the chats, and we'll certainly maybe take it into consideration.
Yes, of course, this
Just
season,
so.
Sam, one of the changes that we are getting used to, we are getting back to getting used to, is the extension of the qualifying session from 10 to back to 20 minutes, as it was in season 3. And on a track like this, especially, it's really showing, how important this is, because can you imagine 10-minute qualifying around this chaotic racetrack? So really helping the drivers out with this 20 minutes of qualifying time, as Methrol jumps into 6th place. Chris Warner for Fury Simsport. Speaking of Fury Simsport, I think I saw somewhere in the entry list a new driver for Fury. Here we go. It's Martin Plowman, and of course winner in the LMP2 category at Le Mans in real life, as Van Loozenor goes first, and protagonist of the MX5 Monday Cup in the past seasons, and now switching to this very important championship together with basically a good chunk of the Fury Simsport contingent. So nice to have another real life driver in the ranks for this championship, and of course running in the gold category. Speaking of categories, still in the entry list they updated a few minutes before going live. It was a matter of in discussion, the class for Ingemar Andersson. He still signed up as a bronze, so I haven't gotten any communication in this regard of moving to another category. So yeah, apparently he will fight it out with the likes of Dries Mujdi, Rob Tyson, and the other guys of the bronze class today.
Yeah, I still feel as though he's probably going to change at some point. He was considerably faster than those guys last time. We also didn't get an interview with Ingmar last time, even though he was queuing up for a while. So we'll certainly make sure that we have a chat with him. Will he be driver of the day? Will he even win this entire race? We'll wait and see. Because I mean, if we're going to have a topsy-turvy race, this could be the one. I remember, I think Kazuki Umashima You might have to correct me, Marco, but I believe that was the World Championship driver in the F1 series who was incredibly good around this circuit and nearly beat the absolute best in the world, like Hutu and Concre were absolutely dominant in that car. And he nearly beat them that day. So there's certainly a few specialists perhaps around the circuit. Will he be one of them? Maybe Tyler Lugo Vickery up there as well,
Yeah.
sporting the Apex Racing TV livery. I haven't got the most up-to-date livery for him, Marco. Has he updated that at all? I believe he was adding a few badges to it and stickers.
So far, it's the same as last week. The one I got from the livery repository of this unbelievably well organized championship. I'm focusing on him, of course, because he is coming off the heel of his best round ever in the championship last week at Spa, uh, almost getting the victory, or I don't know if it would have been a victory, of course, because it was still a matter of contention where Ingemar Andersson would have slotted. Uh, so a little bit of disappointment in the end because of the way he couldn't profit from the chaos in front of him. But still, I think the big positive of him having the best round, he was spot on last week, and it's a pleasure to see Tyler. He worked so hard last season, had many difficulties, and is now in a position to really put some points in the bag and have a fantastic start in week one. Danny Cruz, TCR International and TCR Europe driver, the happiest man in iRacing, I think, right now, with the new Audi. Even though I think he drives a Seat in real life competition, even though they are very similar cars. Sitting in P4 thanks to his latest lap time.
Yes, and of course there's the SimRacersWorld TCR League, of course,
Yeah.
which is, I'm not sure what night that is, because we've got this league, it's Wednesday, and then we've also got the Evo League, and certainly check out the Evo League. So check out the SimRacersWorld.com, their website, for sign up for the Pro League and the Evo League. The Evo League is kind of the second division, but it's also very good drivers as well. And if you win that, then you get automatic entry to the Pro League for next season. That's on a Thursday evening. And then there's also the TCR League as well on another evening. I'm sure it says on their website. So I'm sure many of you will be eager to try out the TCR car. It seems to really be very positive from many people. And certainly this league, we can guarantee on Apex Racing TV will be absolutely superb. Unfortunately, not broadcast by us, the TCR League or the Evo League, but certainly still check it out. Still Martin Van Lutenov then on pole position, but only by about a quarter of a second at the moment over Robin Monster.
Speaking of TCR, is it tomorrow the big day for the new championship?
I don't think so, because that's the same day as the Evo League.
No,
So I don't
for
think they clash. Oh, sorry, the
league you organize.
ARLTC, the one that I'm the admin of. Yeah. Yes, and that will be on the iRacing Esports Network.
Exactly.
That is confirmed. I say confirmed. We're putting it on the iRacing Esports Network, certainly. And it will be absolutely superb. You know, guaranteed 60 cars on the grids and mega competitive. Of course, the reincarnation of the BSRTC Championship, of course, and that will be spanning for the next 3 or 4 months for the ARLTC. So check that out on your screens. Similar time to this tomorrow evening.
Fantastic, so you don't want to miss that. Certainly, you are right, Sam, by reading and also driving the new TCR car. Seems like the response of the community has been overwhelmingly positive, and hopefully, and I think it's going to be a car that will prove to be popular even after the season one excitement. It's I mean, yes, some cars have like a week one excitement. I remember when the Camel GT cars came out, beautiful Camel GT cars, I might add. They were popular for 1 or 2 weeks and then they disappeared, getting into more of a niche. But this TCR car really fills a gap that iRacing never ever covered, not even with Kia or God forbid the Jetta, which I'm a big lover of, but it's not really a touring car in the sense of it's like it's a different kind of car, which I love honestly, but could it wasn't the answer that the drivers were waiting for in terms of a modern competitive touring car. Finally, we have it, and we are seeing leaks, come up left and right. Of course, SimRacersWorld, Apex Racing League, etc. So we'll see. Hopefully, once again, it will prove to be super popular even after the first season excitement.
I've just looked on the entry list, or on the standings. Ingmar Andersen is down as a silver driver.
Perfect.
So I think we can say, although Nick Sherman's is silver. Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he won round one. Sorry, I was thinking he got promoted to pro, but no, that was Davey Witzbold. That's the one.
Whilst you entertain the viewers, I'm going to do some work behind the scenes. Very quickly.
Yes. Okay. I was going to about do some juggling, but I guess the viewers won't be able to quite appreciate that. But yes, we've got 2 more minutes to go in qualifying. Currently on pole position, as you can probably see on your screens, is Martin van Liesnoord. He's quarter of a second ahead of Robin Monster. It's a really good performance from Monster, actually. He had a bit of a tricky round one. He finished in 15th place on that day, and just had a couple of tap rounds. I think he got tapped round by Lewis Ward, if I'm remembering correctly. So had a little bit of a setback there. Danny Crow is currently lining up in third with Chris Warner, who was very competitive at Daytona, not quite following that up in round one, but he's considering that he's a debut. This is his first couple of races. He's still doing very well in 4th place. And there's many other very competitive drivers amongst the top. Ben Thanes, top of the silver drivers, doing really well as Ben Thanes. I remember him from last season in the bronze category. Not even sure, no, he didn't win the bronze category last season, and often wasn't necessarily way faster than the other bronze drivers, but he's really leveled it up today. So congratulations to him in the silver category. He's currently leading the way. David Fuller, of course, as Marco helpfully hands me out there, was top last season in that gold category, and he's actually silver out of those drivers. So the silver drivers really are making the step forwards that we all wanted.
And driver David Fuller really needs to have a bounce back round after making many mistakes on media day and many mistakes in round one, if you remember. He has the pace even to fight it out with the top of the silver class, as we have the first of the new feature. Thanks to the stewards, you will see the penalties pop out on your screen straight away. Brian Holmes will start from the pits due to a penalty, so as the race goes on, the stewards will make their decisions and they will tell them to us on the screen and to you, of course, watching a new feature we are trying out for the first time tonight. So hopefully this will be, a big help for you watching to follow the action better. So thank you to the stewards, and I mean, it's time to go racing, Sam, basically. Just waiting for the drivers to complete their lap times. So seems like it's going to be a rev match 1, 2, 3, unless Monster can improve himself. Getting a good time in the first sector, not improving in the second sector. Let's see if he can get the missing ingredient to beat his teammate. Otherwise, it will be another pole for Martin van Loosenhoorn.
Yep, here we go then, the tricky final chicane. This is where a lot of time can be won or lost, and he's hit the wall. And that didn't lose him too much time, but of course if you pick up a 1x or even a 0x, that means that your lap time is invalidated. I think it's just so that drivers at an oval don't just scrape the wall towards the end of the lap to gain an advantage. Danny Crows, can he improve? No. He remains in 3rd place. He was about a 10th off his fastest time. Martin Plowman failed to improve as well. Must have been an invalidated lap time for him. pretty much all the drivers are actually back into the pits. I think they are all back to the pits. We are going to let the clock tick down though for the next 50 seconds or so before we get away this 1 hour race. Of course, one pit stop in this race. And just to ask answer criminal on the YouTube chats, there's no Porsche GT3 car at the moment. There's the Porsche GT3 Cup car, rather confusingly named, but that is not a GT3 car. But it is a superb car. Personally, probably my favorite car. I mean, this track in that car, oh, it is a very good combination. I recommend it. But it's not a GT3 car. It's quite a bit slower. If you want to see a that Porsche though, do check out the Apex Racing League British GT Championship on our own channel, Apex Racing TV. I think that's enough promotion for now. We've only got a few more seconds before the judges will start to line up on the grid. Rolling start, of course, for this. They'll line up down the back straight alongside the rowing lake, I believe it was, in the 88 Olympics, or maybe that was Seoul, maybe 84, something like that. Anyway, Martin Van Leeuwenhoek is on pole position for this one. He's 0.3 of a second clear of Robin Monster in the end. Those two form the front row. Then it's Danny Crows making it a Rev Match Racing Esports 1, 2, 3. Chris Warner starts in 4th with Tom Methrall in 5th. Then it's Kevin van der Slik who finished 2nd at Spa. Going to be tough to replicate that. Dion Phillips starts in 7th. He had a poor start at Spa. Let's see if he can do better this time. Bod Burnham, much better qualifying for him, up in 8th. Then it's Ruben Van Buell in the BMW in 9th. And Ingmar Anson, who is the top of the silver drives. But alongside him on the front row of the grid in that category is Ben Thanes. Then it's Lewis Ward, Marvin Amont, Martin Plowman, David Fuller, Matthias de Tige, Ewan Marshall, Gregory Ranks, John Barnes. Dries Mujdi is top of the bronze jars, so really good start for him after his win. Oh, sorry, after his 3rd place last week. Then it's Chris Muetzer, Seb Herbert, Jeremy Hessels, Rob Thiessen, Steve Clays, Ryan Walker, great to see him up there, Anton Dupin, Pim Bao, Lee Deemer, John McConville, William Bush. Ian Roots has got himself quite a task, but he has got some very good starts so far this season, so watch out for him from 32nd on the grid. Then it's Stephen DeWolf, Brian Holmes, Kevin Boland, Ronald Means, Robbie Bouchon, Stu Musselwhite, Stephen Castrop, Lee Woodburn, Tyler Lugo Vickery, Thijs Berg, of course the bronze class winner last time out, but he's a while down the order. And then Scott Malcolm rounding out this 43 car field. And once again, Mark, I think I said the same thing about the Spa round when I was looking at the grid, but there are so many good drivers. You feel a little bit out of position. I mean, one of them is Thijs Berg, one of the front runners in the bronze category last season, the winner of race 1 at Spa. He's down in penultimate position for this one. Also, Martin Plowman maybe a little bit further down. Marvin Amont only starting 13th on the grid, struggling with qualifying again. I mean, it's such a competitive field. Chris Muretz down in 21st place. What's he doing there? Jeremy Hessel's in 23rd. I could go on and on. Just shows the quality of this field.
Absolutely, and it is without a doubt the toughest moment of the race. This first lap on this track in particular. Drivers will need to be on their A game, and like we always say in these situations, you don't need to make a mistake to be involved in something. So everyone is hoping for everyone else to behave. Sorry, to behave and get out of the first lap in one piece.
Here we go then, Martin Van Leeuwenhoek trying to make it 2 from 2 here. Away we go for 60 minutes of racing at Montreal. It's not a brilliant launch from Van Leeuwenhoek, but he should be okay for Monza. Going down into turn 1, going a little bit defensive there as the 3rd place driver of Danny Crows holding off Chris Warner. No changes so far in the top 11 places. We've still got Ingmar Anson leading away the silver drivers. Marvin Amont has got past Lewis Ward, so good start for him. Jeremy Hessel's great start. I was saying how he was a little bit out of position. He's up 4 places already. That is quite incredible in just those first few corners, because he's really an outlier compared to the rest of the field, trying to go for another position straight away as well. John Barnes losing a place. Steve Place gaining a couple of places as well, but out in lead. It's still a Rev Match Racing Esports 1, 2, 3. And something that I noticed there, Marco, was how Danny Crows went super defensive going into turn 1, seemingly wanting to fend off that 1, 2, 3.
Yes, I'm noticing basically a clean first lap from anyone, apart from Lee Woodburn, who had an issue. And you can see lagging behind, only in front of Brian Holmes. And oh, that is Ryan Walker hitting the wall very hard. And it's not the only one. Stuart Musselwhite also is proceeding very, very slowly. Let's see what happened there. So this is Ian Roots. Oh, there was contact in front of him. And he managed to escape. But I think that Ryan Walker was not that lucky. Let's see from the chopper view. The green and yellow car clipped by the rev match car there, and nowhere to go for poor Ryan there. And I think its race is basically already over.
Yes, one of our colleagues here, Apex Racing TV.
Nope.
So big shame that he's... Oh no, sorry. Oh dear. Of course. The person with the same name as one of our colleagues here at Apex Racing TV. I'm so used to it because that's Ryan D. Walker. Sorry. There you go. We'll get used to it as the 12 rounds go on. Van Liesnold making a bit of a gap for himself, 1 second ahead of the rest of the field. We saw big pressure initially for Danny Kroes in his Audi from Chris Warner, who's actually got another good run. You can see how if the drivers don't properly get on top of that curb going into that chicane, you lose a massive amount of time because it just lifts up half the car. And you can imagine you want all 4 tyres on the tarmac, not 2 of them. And Warner, here we go, side by side, a much better exit, gets the power down, and there's no way of defending this surely for Danny Kroes, who was really attacking for second place, but just a couple of mistakes in a couple of corners, and it's really cost him. He gets back into the slipstream though, looks to the inside, it's going to be a brave move, going down into the chicane, as Warner covered off all avenues. Just about. Oh, it's been no, sorry, I think that was just a slide ahead. Heard some tyre squealing, but it's Warner
Monster, yeah.
who gets the move into the top 3.
Yeah, look at that. They are slicing and dicing all over the top 5. Van Loosenhoff, of course, gets the fastest lap so far. I think a mistake from Monster there, 34.4. Not the best of lap. Driver standards warning for car 310, which is Pimbao, I think, because of the contact he had with Ryan Walker, as we have another Nomad car, Kevin Bolland, going a bit wide there. Ian Root speed 37 for him. Brian Holmes, we said, is back on the track after starting from the pits, as the drivers are slowly trying to make sense of this race, trying to create some gap with each other. Is not going to be easy, of course, Sam. Laps are very short around here. It's a lot of very much a start and stop kind of racetrack, so we are going to have some laps before the group starts, pulling away from each other. Also, if we can have a peek at the weather, we can see that we are enjoying 28 degrees track temperature, air is 19 degrees Celsius, of course, so pretty good conditions, I would say, for racing.
Yes, these drivers should get a decent amount of grip for their tyres. I imagine they may have even prepared for worse than this, so very good is that. These cars, of course, not with the new tyre model, but there are several cars. The TCR car, of course, as just running a little bit wide there was Danny Kroes, but the TCR car and the Formula 3 car as well with the new tyre model. So you do check that out on iRacing, of course. Still going to fence here. It seems like Kroes is quite comfortable sometimes, but just easily making a couple of small mistakes, and with such a narrow circuit, with a circuit where if you do make a mistake, it's cost you so badly. He is just getting sucked back into the drivers behind rather than attacking the drivers ahead, all the way down to Bod Boland. These guys are in a group. Seeing a couple of drivers just dropping down the field. In fact, actually, I say that. David Fuller dropped down the field. He's down 6 places. I can only assume that's the slowdown, because they are very easy to pick up around here. If you miss one of the chicane, or sorry, if you take too much curve at one of the chicanes, it will really cost you. Oh, he didn't pick up a slowdown. There you go. He's actually had a full spin. So how he's only lost 6 places here is a bit of a miracle, trying not to do a Sebastian Vettel.
No. He
And,
lost 6 places. You talked about him, and then he spun. I mistakenly went to a replay, but that was basically live. So
okay. Well, there you go. Not going well for Dave, but he's had a few spins this season, can't lie. Daytona, I believe he had 3 of them. Spa, he had 1, which was lucky not to take him out of the race. And that one has really set him back, so not the start that the defending bronze class champion wanted to have. Rolling Monsters under big pressure here from Chris Warner. Remember, finished in 2nd place at the Daytona Media Day. Wasn't quite as strong at Spa, but he's looking really racy at the moment, and he just seems a little bit more at ease at the moment. Then the driver running in 2nd place. Here's Lewis Ward making a move. He's just got past Marvin Amont, so that was the position he lost on the opening lap. 2 drivers a little bit out of position, ought to be further up, as Rob Thiesen's got an issue, and he's really trying to get off the racing line, I think, but he's accidentally holding up a couple of the drivers behind, and he is running at the moment in the bronze category, so maybe just serving a slowdown, I guess.
I mean, that front end of the car doesn't seem very good on the 311. Let's see if we can have a replay. No, he was already. I think he was slowing down there probably because he missed the final chicane, even though he has some damage. And maybe the two things are unrelated. Back to the good pace now, but. This is what people don't like about slowdowns, is that they create issues for everyone else, because all of a sudden you have a car slowing down, trying to avoid getting a penalty, but at the same time it's a straight, and in a situation like this with 50 cars or something, all of a sudden you find everyone darting left and right to avoid a slow moving car. So less than it's not an ideal situation, but so far no one has been able to find a good solution.
Yes, and I mean, I just put massive curves on the outside of the corners. Do a little bit of like a Monza. You can afford those big curves on sim racing. You're not going to have cars flying up into the air. So yeah, stop them about a little bit. You can see one of the big sausage curves, which I think was added after they laser scanned this circuit. Keep up with the real life developments as Lugo Vickery wants to make a move. He started quite far down. I think he started in 3rd to last position. But he's already gained a few places, leaving in lots of room at the right. There was the Nomad Sim Racing driver, but having to stay behind there. Of course, Kevin Boland, the driver just ahead. Vickery up 4 places from his start. Ryan Walker, by the way, out of the race. He's even disconnected from the session. But apart from that, I believe everyone's on the lead lap and still going quite strong. Lee Woodburn bringing up the rear as it stands. And you can see he's still not anywhere near being lapped by Marks van Loosenhout, who is, I think, going to be lapping the entire field by the end of this, because he's 4 seconds out in the lead.
Sam, absolutely, you are right. No one is outside of the lead lap except for sadly the Nomad Sim Racing driver that was forced to retire after that big crash. Let's see the way I think they are driving behind the Robin Monster. I think that Warner has more than a chance to finish on the podium. He is showing some great pace, but I mean, anyone, Monster, Warner, Cruz, Methrol, Vanderslick, and also Phillips and Bob Boland, they all have a chance to finish on the podium. By the way, we have an overtake here, and Lewis Ward has gone past Ingemar Anderson. So this was a move.
Oh, Ben Thames has got an issue. So
yeah,
he's just lost a few places as Ben Thames from 2nd place out of the silver drive. So as Anderson loses a position. Oh, that's a lot of damage for Thames. And that's the problem here at Montreal. Just pick up just one tiny mistake, and it costs you so much more than the vast majority of circuits. That's what happened. Big slides.
Yeah.
He might be able to continue. Of course, very much hinted, because that was space ground, but you know what, he's lifting off to let drivers pass. This could be more problems for him. Gonna have to go across the circuit. Still grass in sim, not in real life, of course. And Thames is dropping like a stone down the order. I think the best he can do from here on in, Marco, is probably just to finish the race. Hopefully he doesn't have a meatball.
Yeah, I mean, it should be okay, but rear wing damage, of course, never good. We have a driver standards warning for car 42. That is Sebastian Eberer. I might have missed what happened there, but let's
Yes.
let's consider that basically it's a warning for drivers, just like the flag they gave to Leclerc on Sunday. And I will not
Yeah,
talk
first
about
time
that
in 9
anymore.
years first time in 9 years that they've given a warning flag. So apparently they're going to do a lot more of that, which I'd support. Let's try not to. Well, I mean, let's start a debate. Who am I kidding? I want to see some entertainment on this YouTube chat. Should Leclerc got a bigger penalty?
Yes,
If you
yes,
feel so
absolutely
strongly
yes,
about it.
yes, yes, yes.
What, for the first one or the second one?
For well, uh,
Or existing in a Ferrari?
I mean, the second one was a bit. I mean, he was very, very smart in maximizing the advantage without making it look like a big advantage. So, as Lee Woodburn sadly has got an issue. He was already sporting some damage to his car, and I think he decided to call it a day, unfortunately. So Lee Woodburn is out of the race.
Hessel's with an issue at the moment. He's dropping, I mean, to use the phrase again, like a stone. Thiessen also still dropping down the order at the moment after the damage he picked up earlier. Hessel's back to the pits then.
Oh, he crashed.
And that does not look fantastic.
Now, if you have any familiarity with the beautiful software that we have, here, oh, there was like okay, something must have happened there because there were several cars. Oh, wow. So let's see if we can have a replay of that. As Steve Glaze is having also an issue, and he's in the pits. So
He may have been involved in that.
yeah, I'm trying to find what happened because it's here in Montreal. The event system is very, let's say, likes to report on a lot of crashes. So this is what happened. Oh yeah, he was involved.
Oh, yeah. So a few drivers involved in that. So Clays and Hessels have gone back to the pit. Muretta dropping down the order as we speak. So we're seeing a few incidents at the moment. It was quite civil for the first 10 minutes of this race, but in the last few minutes, it's been picked up and leg. Yeah, he's back to the pits as well. So these drivers, ooh, just running a little bit wide into the barrier. I mean, maybe he's picked up some earlier damage.
Yeah. I think he was involved in that mess there. So yes, I think I can finally put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Hooray!
So this is where it all started, apparently. Yes, there was big contact there. It's almost like Chris was not expecting to find the slower car there. Let's see from his onboard. Oh,
that was really early on the brakes, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. See what the stewards will have to say about that, but the conclusion is that there are three very good cars in the pits right now with big damage. So that is going to be certainly, loss of a good number of points for these drivers. Of course, there are drop rounds, but you never want to start thinking about drop rounds, or round 2 of the season.
No. I do quite often think about Michael Abdulka in the UAV8 Supercar Series, where he had an awful first round. Remember, this is a 12-round season, and he had an awful first round, and he managed to not have a bad round for the next 11 and won the title. But that's quite difficult to do. Gregory Branks with a big issue out there for SimRacersWorld. What has happened to him? It's that chicane. I always say, very easy to pick up a slowdown here. Drivers are finding it even more difficult than that. A spin round.
I don't
But
think
that
there
wouldn't
was
explain
contact.
why it's got quite so much damage.
Let's see, because Amans was very close, but I think he clipped, yeah, he clipped the grass. And then did he clip Amans? No. Did he hit someone? Did he pull a Vettel? No.
No. Oh, maybe its car never. Oh, its car never got any damage. Fair enough.
Okay. I mean, we have to get used to this because, you know, all of the calculations on the damage are done client side. So I don't know if you've been trying the Skippy in week 13. Basically, sometimes you see a wheel fall off from your opponent, and then all of a sudden it reappears, you know. So we might see some of that. The problem with that is that if an opponent loses a wheel as a Thunder Slick is trying to pass Metal here at the hairpin, and let's say it hits you and damages your car, but then the wheel reappears on your opponent's car, you keep the damage. So, of course, there are still some things to work about the new damage model, which looks very cool, I have to say.
Yes, very impressive film. iRacing that. Certainly, as far as I'm aware, a level above any other sim out there. And it will be rolled up for these GT3 cars, hopefully quite soon. Methanol under pressure from Van der Sleek, who's surely going to move up into 5th place. It's taking him in a while, but on the outside here, you do have a decent chance. Meraki Racing driver leaving a lot of room on the outside. They're going through turn 1, still gets the inside for turn 2. It's all about this drive now down into turn 3. And you know what, Methor probably has the bets run. It's how willing he is to force his opponent out. Around the outside goes the right. It's going to be brave to go around the outside here because he can easily get hit into the wall. He may have just slid into the wall a little bit there, Methor, but I don't think it's got enough damage to make any significant difference. And most importantly, it's Kevin Van Stick moving up into 5th position now, and he can chase after the drivers ahead.
Yeah, flashing his lights there, Methrel not happy. I think his thinking was that he left a lot of space to Thunder Slick, and still they managed to have almost a collision. Dion Phillips, teammate to Thunder Slick, is also coming back at these two guys. So let's jump on board with the Audi, which was once the car of choice, of course, of our defending champion Martin van Loosenord. And now he switched to the Ferrari along part of his team. The rest of the team has stuck with the Audi. As Phillips trying to use all of the slipstream to pass Methrol. Of course, very tough to get a move done here at the chicane if you are that far back. Incident between car 247 and 88. It will be reviewed post-race. We're talking 247 and 88, and these drivers and Moretta. Makes sense.
So that was the coming together at that chicane. I say that chicane. The majority of the corners here are chicanes, but I think you know what I'm talking about. The penultimate chicane, not this one, but the one before that. Lee Diemer runs wide. That's what you got to do though around that chicane. Gets the car stopped mid-corner and then can sprint away from it. Side by side between the SimRacersWorld drivers of Anton Dupin, who is going to lose out here to John McConville, of course. 8 places is McConville. So we've got to keep an eye out on drivers who are going to win our Driver of the Day awards. And I must say, I don't think anyone springs out to mind, but I must say Diemer, McConville and De Wolf up 8, 8 and 9 places respectively. Bouchon as well up 11 places, so they're all in the running.
Absolutely. Of course, we still have more than half of the race to go, as these drivers are still fighting for position. Let's go back to the front and let's talk about strategy for just a second. Of course, it will be a matter. Oh, here we go, Chris Warner. Good save there. He avoids the wall. Needs to have a good rejoin now. This is the worst camera angle possible. I apologize. Okay, this is even a little bit better. In front of his teammate, Martin Plowman, who comes past him, but big mistake there. So the silver lining of not eating anything, but for Warner, especially in a field as close as this, these positions that he lost are going to be very, very costly. And now he has got a very, very tough task ahead of him.
As I was saying, it's the second week in a row where Chris Warner has fallen victim to a spin at a similar point at this point in the race. Last week, to be fair, he got tapped out, but this time seemingly just a mistake from him.
This is not the right replay. I apologize profusely.
I mean, I don't know if he pulled out because he knew it was his teammate. And so he was like, well, if I take out my teammate, I'm kind of losing out to myself, to be honest. I can't, I won't be too guilty. I mean, that's strange that he lost it there because you can see the driver ahead of him of Robin Monster took pretty much the exact same line, but Warner really lost it very early on, just when he went over that curb and got back going. And his teammate did do well to avoid.
Perspective of Vanderslick, which is of course the wrong perspective because Danny Cruz was the car behind him. Very close, so good avoidance job there from Danny Cruz. Didn't lose a lot of time. As we move here to Dion Phillips, Rev Match Esports, new signing for the team. And he puts the move on Tom Methrel and moves up into the top 5.
And just like that, it's a Rev Match Racing Esports 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I don't think we've ever seen in this series before. Absolutely incredible driving from those guys today. Ewan Marshall's just got past Anson. Anson might be dropping down the field as Rev Match move to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They maintained first place out of the silver category, but a bad few laps, bad few corners there for Anson. That's what happened to Ben Thanes, who's still dropping down the order. Was running as high as I think about 13th place earlier on, but not anywhere near as high anymore. Here's Rob Thiessen.
Great fight, this one.
Yes. Oh, is Thiessen going to keep it out of the barriers? Only just.
Here comes Bush, new signing for Team GB from Nomad Sim Racing last season. Another driver who was plagued by bad luck in Season 4. Now looking to redeem himself. He is sitting right now in a very good 4th place in his class. Jinxed. I apologize.
And he's going to lose 3 places surely with this slowdown. Could be very awkward for the driver on the outside there. He's going to get boxed in. Bush is, he's hanging on at the moment, taking a wide line. He's trying to serve that slowdown. I imagine he's still got a little bit of it left. But maybe down this next straight, he might just lose it. Pim Bao, he's going side by side. In fact, this time he might even move ahead of Bao. Whoever's got the momentum going into this chicane always has the advantage. You know what? He's got his entire car ahead of Pim Bao, and he maintains that place. So it could have been a lot worse there for William Bush.
Yes.
But you can see straight away starts to pull away again as Ronald Moons has just come into the pits. He was in that little pack of drivers.
Yeah, and Bush in the end didn't lose a lot of time because he's clearly still close to the 3rd and 2nd guys in his bronze class, which are Bushoms and Thiessen. Mushdi is still your bronze leader for Dynamics Racing. Ingemar Andersson leading the way in silver, as we have to move very quickly to this fight between Warner and the Tige. So Warner trying to make a comeback, of course, after his mistakes. Seems like he has been able to move past his opponent there and up into 11th place is Chris Warner now.
And he's got his teammate ahead of Martin Plowman, so you'd expect Plowman to make that one quite simple for him. Warner certainly does seem to have the advantage tonight. So that will be P10 for him. Of course, they do have a pit stop in this race as well. Relatively low fuel consumption around this place, I think. and so they should be able to get a they should be able to get quite far on on a tank of fuel. So perhaps some leniency in that strategy, and of course it's quite difficult to overtake around this place, and I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Warner tries to go for a bit of an undercut on many of his rivals. Lewis Ward has kind of quietly gone about his business so far. He's up 4 places. I thought he was a little bit low on the grid. Didn't have a great spar round. Crashed out from about 13th place, I think it was at the time. But he's having a much better run about at the moment. Up in P8. And he's got a run at Bod Boland, currently 0.3 of a second behind. He's only 5 seconds off Dion Phillips, which is probably the furthest up he's going to get today. And Ward is just lining this one up. A little bit of a Constantine effect where the driver ahead always gets on the power a little bit earlier than you, pulls away, and there didn't seem to be any potential of a move from Lewis Ward there in 8th place.
Yeah, moving very quickly to Cruz and Monster there because Cruz closed in on his teammate, but he didn't pull the trigger once they came to the chicane. On the opposite here, Ward using the chicane to close the gap on Boland, but no attempt made of an overtake. As you can see behind them, Ruben van Buren with his Michael Schumacher tribute livery. That's what he told me in private during the week. Ben Thanes and Dries Mujdi fighting it out. Dries Mujdi the leader in bronze. And Mujdi actually passing Thanes, of course. Thanes sporting a damaged car there, damaged rear wing on his Audi R8.
He's doing a good job considering that damage, to be fair, as are a few of the drivers. There's also Rob Thiessen as well with a bit of damage out there. He's doing a good job. Ian Roots is closing in on these 2 drivers of David Fuller and Pim Bao. Pim Bao just pushing out Fuller a little bit, and Roots is going to try to get involved. I think this is all 3 classes.
Massive crash!
Massive crash between Bao and Fuller. And Chris Fuller's difficult start to the season continues. I've been complaining about how he's had a few too many spins. I mean, that's a lot worse than any of them. This is how it happened, and it was probably avoidable. Fuller, well, I mean, that's a situation for me personally, Michael. I can't just think, give each other a bit more room.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it could have been avoided. Fuller was a bit boxed out there, but then he tried to move on the right, at least in my opinion. And that was certainly not ideal. Maybe we can have a better perspective on board from the number 46 of Ian Roots, but I think you can see the car on the left moving towards the inside there. It must have been a very scary moment for Ian, and certainly for David and Pim. That's the end of the race as Dion Phillips comes into the pits and out of the pits. A 25-second stop.
I thought he was going to come out with a nice bit of space, because there's quite a big gap behind the driver that he's just ahead of. But I mean, it hasn't really worked too well for him because he's kind of in the depths of traffic currently. Is Phillips was running as high as 5th place, of course. Can he maintain that? Of course, at the halfway stage of this race now, halfway to go, and still Mats van Liesnoord absolutely dominating out there. And this is a circuit where it's easy to make mistakes. We saw Eif van Genekten. He was the precursor to Mats van Liesnoord's dominance. Van Genekten, it feels like a while ago, but won all but one of the rounds in Season 3. And similar dominance to Mats van Liesnoord. The one race that he didn't win that season was when he crashed at Bathurst. Certainly this is a similar track where, you know, a small mistake could be very costly for Van Liesnoord, but he's been error-free so far. Just needs to stay engaged, and he should be well on course for yet another race victory. Did Boland just get past? Oh, sorry, Boland's being caught by Ward, isn't he? And Van Buren as well. He's trying to get in on the scene.
heading into the second half of the race right now, Sam, and I think, yeah, we started seeing some drivers coming for their stop, but the majority of the drivers still to stop. You see in the top 20, no one has done their mandatory, or not mandatory, but suggested pit stop, as we are waiting for the strategies to unfold. Fuel only as per usual, tires won't be an issue, or they very well might be come the end of the race. Even though the track is reasonably cool, it will certainly be a matter of fuel in these stops, and the more you can save, the more you can then use those precious little seconds to jump an opponent, or put those very important 2-3 seconds to then manage from then until the end of the race.
Yeah, these. I mean, what I'd like to see is traction control banned for these cars in this league. That would make it much more interesting. This is very much just start circuit. As we've got side by side between Marshall, who's just got past then Marvin and Mons. So
Yes,
5 places now is in Marshall.
Yes, they've been passing each other for the past couple of corners. Seems like now Marshall has been able to finally complete the move. So let's go back to this fight here, because this is the fight for second in bronze class, Bushoms and Tyson, and of course it's William Bush coming back, trying to get the podium after his mistake earlier. So there is a fight to keep following as the race goes on. It always seems to me like the cars are hitting the wall every lap there.
Yes. Of course, if you're not hitting the wall, you're not pushing hard enough. You need to use every inch of space. Here's Bod Bowland under pressure from Lewis Ward, who is a man on a mission. This is going to be a brave move, though. Down into the chicane. And he goes straight on into the pits. I mean, credit to Bod Bowland there. If I were him, I would have definitely have not braked for that corner until we reached Toronto, and gone straight into that wall. But no, he was not so cheap, and he stuck by his braking point in the end, so I commend him for that. No sign of these top 4 pits, and of course we saw earlier on their teammate Dion Phillips come into the pits, but that seems to be a little bit of a lone wolf at the moment when it comes to that, because still Van Leesnod, Monster, Kroes and Van der Slick, his teammates, at least at the front, are yet to pit. Lewis Ward, though, of course, as we saw in the pits, will he be ahead of Phillips? You know what? I think he is. We don't really know how that's happened. Was it a shorter pit stop for him? 16.2 for Ward, 24.7 for Phillips. So I don't know what's happened there for him, Marco, but Dion Phillips with a big setback there. That's I mean, that's almost tyres, but then he wouldn't have taken any fuel, so it can't be tyres. It's something else, not sure.
Yeah, most of the pit stops around the 16, 18 seconds. So yeah, when you are in the 24s, certainly maybe too much fuel could have been the answer.
Yeah, of course he's going to have to carry that fuel all the way to the end of this race, which is certainly not what you want. You can sometimes spend the first half of the race sitting behind someone, just saving fuel, think, oh, well, there's not really any point in me pushing this guy too much, I'll just lift in case a little bit. In the second half of the race, you want the opposite of that. You don't want to have any extra fuel at the end of the race. You want to use as much fuel as you possibly can, of course. Something happened to Marvin and Muntz, and this is what it was.
Made a little bit of a mistake there. Driver standards warning for car 233, which is, drum roll please, David Fuller. For that contact, of course, with Pimbao coming out of the first corner. Yes, second corner.
Hopefully we'll have a chat with one of the stewards at the end of this race. Always interested to see what their insight is as Phillips. I mean, he's made this one a little bit difficult for himself, pitting, so maybe he came in early to fix damage, and that was why his pit stop was so long. Just an idea, but I don't remember him ever skimming the wall. And usually it's not really worth fixing any damage, at least in an hour-long race. If this was 3 or 4 hours, then you could certainly understand it. But of course, no faster pairs either for these drivers. If you pick up damage, there's no easy way out. Phillips, though, moving up into 20th position. Boland and Van Buel now into the pit. So this will also be interesting. Will Boland and Van Buel, will they be ahead of Lewis Ward?
Here comes Ward. He is coming out of the hairpin. Also, Mans is in, basically midway through the backstretch. Still refueling is Boland, and still refueling is Van Buel. Ward is on the start-finish line. I tell you what, Sam, I think he might jump them both. And I think he already has.
Yes. Where is Van Buel in comparison to Phillips? Though? He is ahead of Phillips, so that really does show the amount of time that Phillips lost. He was running in 5th place, and Van Buel was running in 9th place, I believe, at the time. And so he's going to be barely inside the top 10 after all this is shuffled out. Dion Phillips after forming a 1-2-3-4-5 with his teammates earlier on. Dries Moujdi being overtaken now by Bod Boland. So quite an helpful this, but Boland actually getting set back a little bit, and that's not going to help his pursuit of Lewis Ward, and it's just inviting the BMW of Ruben Van Buel in with a chance. By the way, a little bit of an update with the other classes before we get properly into the pits. Ingmar Anson still leading the way in the silver drivers. John Barnes in 2nd place, so he's up there with my drivers of the day so far. He's doing a really good job in 2nd place in that class. He is 17 seconds though off the race leader. In the bronze category, we've got Dries Moujdi leading the way with Robbie Bouchon in 2nd place. Here is Moujdi actually going to lose a position, but this is just to a driver who's already pitted, of course, in the form of Bod Boland. Sorry, not Bod Boland. Lewis Ward.
Yes. No. Yes.
No,
it was Boland.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Bod Boland. Oh dear. Well, we've really been on a roller coaster these past 20 seconds.
Looking at the pits, Dries Moujdi, Seb Eberer, Rob Tyson, William Bush, everyone in, basically in the bronze. Robbie Bouchon is the only one not pitting. Thijs Berg also staying out. Now it's a matter of when are the leaders going to pit, so let's focus our camera on Maarten van Loosener then, who is also about, I think, to start lapping some drivers, even though, of course, when he stops, that is not going to be the case anymore. But really, he had another Maarten van Loosener style race start, check out. We were a bit, surprised by the first half of the Daytona race in the media day, when as Warner goes in from P6, when Van Loosener had to chase for basically the first half of the race before completing the move during the pit stops and then pulling away with ease. But so far, Sam, he has been dominant in this first, let's say, race and 2 quarters that we have had this season. And, unless something crazy happens, seems like he is destined for another race win.
And he always encourages, or gives us hope at least, that there's going to be some competition at the next round, because he is incredibly humble, is Maarten van Loosener, and we must give him that. He never he's certainly not complacent, and that explains why he's been so dominant in this series. But at the end of each race, he always says that it was a little bit harder than maybe it looked. And yeah, it's been doing a brilliant job. Is that Van Buel ahead of
Warner? Yes.
Yes. Wow, so Warner's had a poor stop as well. But he had 16.37, so... Oh, sorry, apologies. Warner, of course, dropped down, didn't he? Apologies. So actually, Warner's done quite well, because he was a little bit detached from that battle. and he nearly managed to jump both Boland and Van Buel. If he had one more lap in clear air, he may have been able to make it.
The Rev Match Herd coming into the pits all together, with Van Loosenhoorn as the shepherd, bringing everyone in. I got my pants right from last week, finally. And also the Tige, Plowman, everyone in. Marshall, Anderson. Basically everyone who hasn't stopped is stopping, as Van Loosenhoorn is already out, 15 seconds. Should be followed by Monster. Let's see. Comes out. Then Cruz should be next. Here comes Van der Slick. Then Methrol. Where is Lewis Ward?
Ward might be up into 5th place here, which would be a sterling effort, and he is going to be up into 5th place. I'm a little bit hesitant to call that because it's a very unique pit exit here. Where is Phillips going to be in comparison to the Jazz coming out? That was Matthias de Tige, who is just behind Dion Phillips. So this worked out well for de Tige, who started down in 16th place, up into 9th place, and that is a legit 9th place as well. Van Buel is behind him, Plowman in 11th, Marshall in 12th, and Chris Warner there managed to gain quite a few places during that pit sequence. He's gone from 11th place all the way up into 7th, so after running in the top 3 earlier on, he's made some places up in that stint. And John McConville, along with Robbie Bouchon, leading their respective classes because they haven't pitted yet, going very far.
The only 2 drivers without their pit stop so far, so let's keep an eye on them. As you can see on the left side of your screen, everyone with 1 stop at the very least, but not these 2 drivers we have just talked about, so I'm expecting the number 2 to 3 to peel into the pits at the end of this lap. Once again, we would like to thank each and every one of you that tuned in for this race. We had great success, very happy for the exposure that the league got in week 1, and here comes McConville into the pits. Let's see if Bouchon's following him through. Yes, and of course for the next 11 weeks, of course, including this one, we will be here with you on Wednesday nights showing this fantastic series of the SimRacersWorld GT Pro Series on the iRacing Esports Network. But we still have 15 minutes more or less to go in this one, and I know I want to go back to the kitchen and eat the fantastic cheesecake I made this afternoon, but this race I think it's even better.
Oh, you made cheesecake?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Wow.
You know, I could be unprofessional and eat it while you are talking during the broadcast, but no, I wait until the end.
I mean, I've got some peach wedges by my seats. I mean, that with the cheesecake. Oh, what's a cuisine heaven that would be. Yeah, looking forward to that. We've got 15 more minutes to go until we can tuck into our respective feeds.
So no interviews tonight.
No. Unfortunately, there's quite a few drivers who do usually have a chat with us. I mean, a lot. We had to turn a couple of them away, but we'll try to get through all of you once again. Boland under pressure from Warner, who really ought to make this move eventually, because like I said before, he was running up in 3rd place earlier on, and if Warner can get it done quickly, he might also be able to catch up to Lewis Ward as well. Matthias de Tige knocking on the door of Dion Phillips as well. So not quite the domination that Rev Match Racing Esports had earlier on, but it's still looking like it's going to be a comfortable 1, 2, 3, 4 for them.
Speaking of which, with less than 50 minutes left in this race, Sam, it's time to start to think about our driver of the day. And I will think about a name and you will think about a name, and let's say that in 6 or 7 minutes you will tell me what do you think.
Awesome, okay. I hope we agree. I mean, that's going to be tricky. I remember when Spod Boland with the slowdown. We haven't seen the slowdowns very predominant today. I thought we were going to see them every other lap from every other driver. But actually, they've been really good today. But that is a costly one for Bod Boland. It's dropped him down a position into 7th. Meanwhile, Detige almost gets alongside Dion Phillips. You really want the inside line going into this chicane, and the BMW sometimes struggles for legs. It's still got the overspeed, though, using the momentum from the slipstream. He's pulling ahead is Detige, but he's not confident enough on the brakes. And now it's really difficult as the driver on the outside to get a good exit, and all of a sudden he's going to be under pressure from Van Buel as well, just behind. But Van Buel isn't close enough. If he hitched up that chicane a little bit better, maybe he'd be able to mount an attack. But instead it's going to be Phillips comfortably ahead still in 8th place. All these drivers, of course, gold drivers.
Yes, the top 13 are all gold drivers. In around 4 minutes time, I will give you the traditional roundup for the 3 classes to see, I mean, now that all the stops have been done, where your favorite driver is in the top 5 of each category. As per usual, Sam, when the 10-minute clock, when the clock strikes 10 minutes to go, it's when you know, the drivers know, okay, I played my cards, I did the strategy in the first part, did the pit stop. If I want to make the move, I have to make the move on track, and this is usually why we have such crazy endings. You know, we had a crazy ending at Monza last year, and of course last week the bronze finish in Spa was absolutely crazy.
Yes, that was pretty mega. It was all boiling up as well for the 10 minutes previous, and then the last corner of the race, absolute anarchy assumed. Tyler Vickery also did a little bit of a Kimi Räikkönen 2012 result where he got lost down an escape road, never gets old, and unfortunately couldn't quite take the race win. Berg took it that day, but it doesn't look like he's going to win at the moment. Still Juraj Mushli leading that category. He was dominating actually at Spa, had a bit of a setback, still finished on the podium, I believe, but it looks like he's going to make amends for that. Tom Metherall.
With issues.
What happened? Why is Tom Metherall so far down? Yeah.
Hardware issues, I've been told by Chris Moretta. We have been
Yeah, he
told
lost 15 seconds at the pit stop.
Yeah, so certainly not ideal for Tom there. You know, you never want to have hardware issues. Sadly, it's our version of, you know, engine issues or, you know, mechanical issues. But yeah.
All things
luck.
being the Conville, so. I just thought it was very close between the drivers in 2nd and 3rd place in the silver category. They were alongside.
McConville got them.
Still, yeah. McConville just ahead.
Yeah, let's see how this will be solved. Of course, fighting for 3rd and in class, and Antoine Dupin, nice to have him back, by the way. Missed most, if not all, of last season, if I'm not mistaken, Sam. But great to have him back here competing. And with a shot of this podium, this is certainly not over in this fight for silver, the silver class 3rd place. The paddles are failing intermittently for Tom, so yeah, pretty much I think this is the closest thing that we have to a real failure, you know, in our sim world, because it's like, you know, gearbox issues, of course. And I never experienced that, but that must be very, very annoying.
Yes, and I mean, of all the issues you could have in terms of hardware, it's pretty cool that it does recreate a real life situation. I guess it's manageable. Needs to make sure that it doesn't blow the engine, of course. Ooh, McConville very wide. He's a sitting duck now. He'd pulled a little bit of a gap. This is going to be easy, though, for the Red Match Racing driver of Ben Thanes, who's down 10 places from his start. Looks to the inside going into turn 1. You know what? Didn't have particularly good straight line speed, probably due to all that damage he's got. And I think this is pretty much what happened on the last lap as well. And McConville stays ahead. Now, can the SimRacersWorld drivers really pick on Thanes here? It's Ben Thane's sandwich, of course, where the
Oh!
SimRacersWorld jars are the bread. Down the inside, absolutely from nowhere. There's Ben Thane.
Oh
Is there going to be
no!
contact? There is contact! And the two of them are taking each other out. And is there going to be more issues as drivers come around that blind bend? You know what? They're doing a really good job. They're respecting the yellow flags and
decision.
does the right thing there. John McConville, I think one of the Ferraris lost the rear end of their car, though, right at the end of that shot. May
Let's
have
see
been
a
Ryan
replay.
Holmes or Ian Root.
Let's see a replay here if we can find it, because the event viewer went absolutely crazy there. Let's see. From the chopper. And we could have an idea. Hopefully the crash is not behind the tree. Of course it's behind the tree. But maybe we could see the car that... someone hit the barrier there. One of the... was a... maybe Brian Holmes? No. Iceberg? No. Most... so someone hit the barrier there. It was Lidimer, I think. Lidimer hit the barrier
well
there.
done.
I think. I don't know. I might
And
be
that
completely
Ferrari
wrong.
yeah, that Ferrari that I spotted at the end, he didn't hit the wall either. So, in the end, didn't collect anyone else. Dima trying to get past. Oh, that's a deep move from De Wolf, who had to kind of back out of that one from at the last moment. Dima trying to pass Thanes now. So this is for the fourth place out of these silver drivers. Dupan up into third. He's got to be up there in terms of driver of the day. He's also up 7 places overall, of course.
Speaking of which, I will give you my candidate for driver of the day, as Marshall and Methrel are still fighting it out. Teammates, of course, and Methrel has got his issues. I am going for driver of the day. I would say Lewis Ward. He's had a...
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, perfect. So we agree?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that is a good thing. I mean, personally, I feel like my reasons is different to yours, but Lewis Ward at the start of last season, he scored 3 consecutive 5th place finishes, and then he got 3 consecutive 4th place finishes. And so I'm liking the memories of those 5th place finishes. I mean, that consistency, I mean, to all OCD people, is absolutely superb. So if he can, every time he finishes 5th this season, he's got driver of the day, pretty much, is what I'm saying. And I'm giving it to him today. So I mean, that's a bit of a consensus there, isn't it? Didn't expect that.
I'm actually
He is
shocked.
also up 7 places. So I mean, he's not driven badly either.
Yeah, and he has a good, interesting strategy and made the most out of it. So, I mean, he's the best of the rest today. The boys at the front have been... I mean, another good shout would have been Chris Warner. We have Dan Blake in the chat. He's team boss. And, of course, I think without that mistake, Warner could have been... and granted, he recovered brilliantly from his mistake. But still, it's a big mistake that he made. So, but yeah, so we have a penalty qualifying ban for the next round for car 311, which is Rob Tyson for Rev Match Esports Academy. So already the ban hammer falling down here. I love this new feature. Thank you to, of course, STK Gaming, Pascal Iglin, of course, for creating this, and of course our wonderful SimRacersWorld stewarding team for using the feature.
Yes, been in the works for a while. That's, I believe, but little elements like that, it does really make the broadcast even more professional. Fantastic to show it off, of course, on the iRacing Esports Network. But of course, if you want to see more of that feature, do subscribe to the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. And also, keep your eyes peeled as well on the iRacing Esports Network for World GT on a Monday, BSR MX5 Pro Series on a Tuesday. Of course, hopefully you'll keep on tuning into this broadcast for the next 10 weeks or so. And then also every Thursday will be there'll be the Apex Racing League Touring Car Championship, which will be going on for quite a few rounds as well. 14 rounds in that, as Martin Plowman, he's getting a terrific slipstream here. Going defensive is the Meraki racing driver. Plowman to the outside, deep on the brakes. And just clambering over the curve. That might be a slowdown though for Bod Burney. He's already picked up one of them. Slow car just ahead as well, but that's a lapped car. Brennan was running it tight there. Usually he can't take that much curve, but he just about didn't take too much and stays ahead of Martin Plowman, who certainly seems like the faster driver of the two.
I don't know how much the stewards will like that weaving by Boland on the backstretch. We'll see. Of course, very late in the day. Let's give you that recap then. I promised it to you like 50 minutes ago. In the gold and overall, of course, it's Martin van Loosenhoord leading the way, going past some lapped traffic in front of his teammates Robin Monster, Danny Cruz and Kevin van der Slick. In 5th place we have Lewis Ward for Alpine. In the silver class, here comes Ingemar Andersson in 1st. John Barnes is in 2nd, as we have a fight for 4th and 5th, by the way. 3rd is Anton Dupin. Dimmer and the Wolf are arguing over 5th place. And 4th place, of course. And in bronze, Dries Boujdi is your leader in front of Robbie Bouchon, William Bush, Thijs Berg and Scott Malcolm is in 5th.
One lap down is Malcolm, I think the last of the runners. Not quite sure what the finishing requirements are, how close you have to be to the leader to score points, to be eligible for points, but certainly Malcolm will be able to do that. Poor exit for Dima. De Wolf is getting closer and closer. Dima takes a slightly unusual line, seemingly opening up the inside, and De Wolf is going to go straight down the inside into the chicane. Dima tries to go around the outside, and you know what, it works. I'm surprised De Wolf couldn't quite show him out. Maybe the tininess of that BMW not quite helping. It's barely the GTE M8 car, of course, which barges cars out of the way for fun. And Dima is putting his car into the right places. He knows where he's confident. But there's still going to be a long couple of laps. We've got 2 minutes to go, and the race leader is around these guys. In fact, I think he's just behind, or sorry, just overtaken these drivers. To the inside again goes De Wolf. This time he's got to be a little bit more authoritative and really go deep on the brakes.
Oh.
And he's done exactly that. Dima has nowhere to go. He tries to get a good exit. Surely quite a bit of contact between the two of them. He'll have better straight line speed, or he ought to at least in that Mercedes. Looks to the outside. They've got other drivers involved as well. But De Wolf has got it done.
Oh, he's a bit on the grass.
He's gone way too deep for turn 1. And just as he thought he'd nailed and signed and delivered that particular letter, he's really made a mistake, and he's going to have to do it all over again. As Brian Holmes, who remember was a long way adrift of the rest of the drivers right at the start of this race, he's done brilliant to recover. He wants to get a couple more positions until the checkered flag.
Yeah, quite a bit of traffic there. It's Bouchon, of course, 2nd in bronze, and Ben Thames is behind them. Ian Roots having a poor round by standards, and I don't remember any particular issues for him. He is just
he got sent back at the start. He was involved in that Ryan Walker incident, I believe.
Oh, yes. Right. You know, P26 for him, and it's William Bush behind them. You can see there at the back end of your shot the Team GB Esports car, but back to this fight here, keeping an eye on where the race leader is, because we are heading for the final few laps as Ian Roots goes up into P25. Passing Ben Thames, but look at this train of cars here, absolutely amazing, with Dimmer, the Wolf and Holmes, and of course it's important to fight for every position this season, because the points,
because every position will gain you points. Yep.
Yeah, not only on
we
the overall.
We know that will so well that we're desperate to set every opportunity. De Wolf, will he get the move on Dimmer this time? This will be the last lap for them. Dimmer with enough pace on the outside. De Wolf makes contact with him. Definitely contact there. Certainly wasn't malicious or anything. But surely De Wolf must feel quite frustrated today. He's not been able to make this move stick yet. But Dima, he's hanging on. He's not going to be... I mean, one mistake for him and he could lose 5 or 6 positions. but it's looking strong for him at the moment. The race leader is got 2/3 of the lap to go. De Wolf now gets a tap from Brian Holmes. Brian Holmes is going to score some more points, I think, than he envisaged at the starts of this race. Up 12 places, Bouchon just behind him, up 14 places. The second out of the bronze drivers are all over the place with just 2 more proper corners to go. We're going to have to cut away from this very soon to watch the race leader cross the line. But maybe 2 more opportunities for the Wolves to get the move done. They're all hitting one another. It's like, oh, and that's a disqualification as well
And here
for
comes
Brian
Cruz.
Holmes, I think it was. As Cruz is going to move up into, well, he's still in 3rd position, but he's trying to get past Rowan Monster for 2nd place. Here's Martin Van Loosnot. He's going to win race 2 of the season in the SimRacersWorld GT Series for Red Match Racing Esports. Brilliant performance. Monster is going to hang on against his teammates. Don't make contact, guys, right at the end. Fancied maybe a run on the line, did Cruz, but it wasn't enough. Kevin Van Slick only just behind those guys in the end. How did it end up with the butts that we were watching? Holmes got past De Wolf then by 1/2 of a second right at the end. Have we seen any race winners?
Yeah, William Bush is the
William Bush
winner
wins
in
the
bronze.
Yes, wins the bronze category. What happened to Dries Mujdi?
Yeah.
Why did he
that's
pit
it.
twice?
That is a very good question, and I'm a bit confused right now. Congratulations to Ingemar Andersson for winning in the silver class, taking it very easy and slow, and winning in his class. So let's see what happened to Dries Mujdi, because I was a bit surprised there.
Must have ran out of fuel, I can only imagine. But that's now 2 races that Mujdi should have undoubtedly have won, but hasn't. I think at Spire may have had to make an extra pit stop. Certainly has some kind of issue. Was dominating there, was dominating here.
Let's see. And let's listen, more importantly. Seems to be okay.
Yeah, well, he's not lifting and coasting, is he?
No. So when was this? Was this at the end of the race?
It was. Or was it? No. So where was Bush whilst all this was going on?
It was here. So let's see, because I think by the way that Van Loosnot was pushing, the race was not over yet.
Ah, yes.
So it was maybe with 1 to go in all the chaos, we lost track of the situation as the rev match cars are doing a little bit of a parade, you know, Audi style in the early 2000s Le Mans races. As this also means, Sam, that we can go through the race results for this very, very exciting second round of the season.
Yes, and it's Martin Van Liesnold. He wins out 19.5 seconds. Not quite as big as his winning margin at Spa, but still not bad going. Danny Cruz nearly got past him right at the end. Nearly got past Rowan Monster. Kevin Van Steek rounding out that Rev Match Racing Esports 1, 2, 3, 4. Brilliant start to the season for those guys. Lewis Ward, good recovery from him. He's our driver of the day, 12th to 5th, and pulled off some good moves as well to gain that position. Chris Warner had a spin, recovered brilliantly, back up into 6th. Dion Phillips finished in 7th. There's Matthias de Tige, Martin Plowman, and Ruben Van Buel running out the top 10. Bod Bowden seemed to struggle a little bit in the latter stages, but still decent 11th place for him. Ewan Marshall had good pace, 17th to 12th. There was Tom Metherell, Marvin Amons. Ingmar Anderson wins in the silver category. Gregory ranks in 16th place overall. John Barnes, really good result for him in the silver category. Don't think he's ever won a race. That might be his best result ever in that category. 2nd place in that class and 17th overall, so well done to him. Seb Herber, quite race for him, but still 18th place. Anton Dupin, in 19th, rounding out the silver podium. And then 1 lap down was Ian Root, Ben Thanes, William Bush, top of the bronze drivers, Lee Deemer, Brian Holmes, Stephen DeWolf, Thijs Berg, Dries Mujdi, Stu Musselwhite, and then 2 laps down was Robbie Bouchon, who gained a lot of places out there, John McConville, and Scott Malcolm. And then the retirees were Ronald Moons, Stephen Castrop, Steve Clays, Rob Thiessen, Tim Bow, David Fuller, Kevin Boland, Tyler Lugo Vickery, Chris Muretta, Jeremy Hessels, Lee Woodburn, and Ryan Walker. There were a few retirees out there, but on the most part, driving standards were good, and also few drivers actually made mistakes by themselves. Maybe we thought that was going to be a little bit more prominent this evening. There's a few interviews we've got to go through. So you know what? Actually, we usually go for the gold class winner first. But seeing that we didn't have a chat with him last week, we're going to have a chat with him straight away. We've got Ingmar Andersson in with us in the commentary box. Ingmar, congratulations, promoted to the silver category, but you still managed to win quite comfortably today. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But it wasn't my race because I had a good quali pace, but my race pace was really bad. But I think I was lucky to keep out of trouble and keep it straight in one piece and just be easy and calm. Keep it in one piece and just drive it home. So I think that my strategy worked well. So
Absolutely. Usually when I'm driving around here, I kind of find it difficult to get the balance between the kind of pushing and pushing up to the walls, get a lot of pace compared to the safety. Did you find that balance difficult to find in the race and during practice?
during practice, not. My time there was really good, but during the race, the track state was really difficult to drive for me, for my setup. Lost a lot of traction and front end grip, especially after the pit stop. It was horrible, but I saw the gap and I just kept it stable, and that was my goal. At the end, I left Marvin through because he's gold. He can use the points, so I won also. I won, so the gap behind to second one was big enough, so I just let one place for the team.
Yes, absolutely. And moving up to next week, quite a different circuit, Road America. How do you feel about that one? Do you reckon you're going to get another silver class win?
I feel like crap because I'm not at home. I'm going on a holiday,
Ah,
so
dear.
I won't race. I love the track, but yeah, we will see what my team is going to do. I'm very confident they will do well, so they will score some good points for the team, and I hope I can be at the top in 2 weeks again.
Definitely. Well, I certainly have a good holiday. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I would like to thank Ian for organizing and all the staff from SimRacersWorld, and I would like to thank RefMatch Esport for for letting me in and giving me the chance to drive for their academy. So I really enjoy it.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Ingmar, and hopefully you'll tune in to the broadcast next week, and hopefully we'll see you back in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you. See you.
So that was Ingmar Andersson from the Rev Match Facing Esports team, of course. Marco, who do you fancy having a chat with next?
I want to have a chat with William Bush, absolutely. So let's see if we can bring him in. He disappeared.
Yes, he was there.
He was there. I wanted to talk to him. Finally a good result after a season of suffering, and also some perspective on that final couple of laps. Oh well, Martin van Loosener then. He should be with us for the interview. Hello, Martin.
Hello, everyone.
So once again in the booth with us once again celebrating a race victory, and it must be very proud for you and your entire team locking out the first four positions in the finishing order.
Yes, definitely. Really happy with the result, of course. We had a good start. Um, and then suddenly Chris lost it somewhere, I think. So yeah, the pressure was off for the guys behind me a little bit, so that was good. Tried to manage the gap behind them, but Kevin was also really quick as soon as he got past, I don't know, P5. So yeah, overall good race for us, definitely. Also with Ingemar finishing P1 in silver, I guess.
Yes.
Not sure what happened to the other guys in bronze, but unfortunate for them for not finishing.
I noticed, of course, some of you are running the Ferrari, some of you are running the Audi. How do you approach preparation for the race? Having to split basically between the two cars inside the team.
That's really difficult. We even have three cars. Steve Kastrop is driving the Mercedes, and I think every car is different. Yeah, in terms of how to take curbs and stuff like that. Because on this track, I think it's really important to be able to take the curbs. And I think the Ferrari was a little bit better than the Audi, and the Mercedes was also struggling a little bit. I think so. I think that's where we had the advantage. Um, and yeah, just look into the data and get your setup work done. So yeah, and then basically it's driving together and look at each other, following the lines as good as possible, and yeah, show the others what the fastest line is. And I think that's when the good results are coming. But still, you need to finish the race to get the result. So it's also all about consistency and yeah, not hitting the walls, especially at this track.
Speaking of Warsaw, we are moving next week to another track where there are a couple of places. It's not as bad as this all around, but in Road America, certainly there are a couple of places where mistakes are not an option. Are you feeling confident about that race? What are your thoughts on Road America? Certainly one of the historic tracks in world motorsport.
Yeah, Road America is a beautiful track. It's certainly a driver's track, especially with all the yeah, you don't have much runoff areas, and if you have them, there's a little bit of grass uh, also. So yeah, you need to drive on the edge of the grass and the tarmac, and that's really difficult. But I think that's where you can find the fast drivers. So yeah, that's going to be yeah. I don't know. It's a tough track, but it's a really fun track as well. Also with the long straights, we should be having a little bit of advantage at the end of the straights. But yeah, we'll see. The Mercedes is so strong coming out of corners, so we need to check it out.
Well, Martin, congratulations once again. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Thank you, and I want to thank you guys, Apex Racing TV, for covering the series. I would like to thank the team for the huge input this week again. I would like to thank the sponsors, UGX Racing Simulators, RB Skillworks, and Uitert. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Martin. Congratulations, and catch you next week.
Yes, catch you next week. Bye bye.
That was Martin van Loozenrot. Sam, who are we getting next?
We will have a chat. Well, I'm tempted. Ooh, I think we might bring down the three other Rev Match drivers,
Ah,
all down with a chat with us, and we're going to probably interrupt each one of their conversations
So
as
what?
well. But of course, they were the three of them absolutely fighting one another all the way. Robin Monster, Danny Craze, and Kevin Van der Steek all join us right now. Congratulations, guys, for a terrific race. First off with Robin, I mean that got pretty close near the end with Danny. He was chasing you for the entire race, and those last couple of corners got quite nervy.
well, hello guys. Was quite intense at the end. I also run into some traffic at the end, so it was quite, yeah. He turned up the heat quite well, so. But at the end, I managed the traffic also to keep him behind. So, well, tough race for me. At the end, I have no tire left as well, so. But happy with the result, and also because I'm teammate from Maarten, so we do also good, yeah, good work on the championship.
Absolutely. And how were the track conditions out there? Because were you expecting the track to be quite as warm as it was today, or was it a little bit of a surprise?
Well, I think if I look to the others, I think everybody practiced a lot on, well, on the colder tracks. So that was quite funny to see, especially at the end. It was quite warm and dirty. So well, yes, I was a little bit overdriving, so my tires went back pretty fast. So I just could keep up with the pace, and my gap was just big enough. So, but it was a great race, especially with track conditions. It was quite challenging to manage.
Well, yeah, certainly congratulations with that second place. Next we're with Danny, of course, and I mean, Danny, you got like I said before, you got very close to making that move. Was there any time where you thought, "Oh, I've finally got him," or were you always just a little bit too far behind to go for the dive?
I wanted to go on the inside in the hairpin, but it didn't. Or, of course, Robin was on the inside, so I tried the outside. But of course, because Robin also had slipstream, and the Ferrari is also really fast on the straight, I could not get the switch back at the exit. So I was a sitting duck at the end of the straight and just had to finish in third.
Yes, but it's still a really good points for you. And I mean, it's difficult for you guys, I guess, in the teams championship because you're fighting amongst each other, I guess. But is the teams championship the one that you're focusing on mainly, or is it just individual races, or is it the drivers championship that you got a particular results you'd like to fulfill?
The correct way is to say it's the team championship, but of course you're fighting for your own.
Good effort answering that question. Kevin, congratulations as well with your fourth place. I guess you're kind of watching that for a while, but you also got pretty close, I believe, when Chris Warner had his spin. Were there any other instances that you kind of had to avoid out there because we saw a few drivers touching the walls and seemingly getting in your way?
Not really. The only car had a in the Hall of Fame wall. That was the one in front of me. I think it was Tom. I think I overtook him in the next, or actually in the first corner, and after that I was a little bit out of trouble, and I actually drove my own race, tried to save up the tires because the crew chief in my ear was always yelling, the track is getting warmer and warmer. So like a little short shifting here and there, and hopefully I can at the end I can do the quick laps and do the quali laps in the end, and hopefully I can like do some cool work at the end. But it was just a half second or maybe less. Yeah, actually, I thought it was Danny on fourth or third. Yeah, right.
And looking forward to next week as well at Road America. Do you reckon? Are you going to feel quite confident about that one? Is that a circuit that you tend to go well round?
Actually, I never actually drove that kind of track with his GTs, but we'll see what happens. And we're gonna make a setup again, and then we see how it goes. But definitely looking forward. I know it's a great American track, so definitely looking forward to that one again.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck for that next week. Who wants to do the team shout outs, and then we can go individually through all the others. So I don't know if one of you is particularly well rehearsed with all your sponsors and stuff.
That's the monster one. Robin does the work.
Well,
You do the
I will
talk.
take, yeah, I will take that effort on me. There's no problem at all. So, well, first of all, let's thank Martin as well. I think Martin is a hell of a team player and also sharing his knowledge with us to make us better and also the setup better. So, thanks to our sponsors as well. So, also Van Uitert and yeah, particularly Ref Match, the whole Ref Match team does do a great effort also in the other classes, in silver class and bronze classes. So, we're looking forward to the next race, I think, and well, we do the same and we put our same efforts in it as well. So hit the throttle quite hard again.
I don't know if Danny and Kevin, if there's anyone that you'd like to add.
No, not really.
That was a good talk from Robin.
Well,
It
thanks,
was
guys.
very good.
Real team player.
We'll see you all back next week then at Road America.
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
Cheers,
See you.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
So that was all the rest of the race match esports drivers. Robin Monster, Danny Craze and Kevin Van der Sake. Just a couple more interviews to go. Marco, who are we going to have a chat with next?
Let's have a chat with Scott Malcolm. Hello, Scott.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Doing good, doing good. So, in the end, you get a very, very good fifth place in your class. How was the race from your perspective?
This season it's a lot tougher this time round. I just kind of decided to take my time around the back and just, hopefully pick up a few spots with people going off and that. But I kind of messed my pit stop up a bit and lost a lot of places in a few laps with that.
What about the driving today? As we saw that in the end, it despite being many cars on a very very narrow racetrack, apart a couple of issues here and there, it was quite respectful all around.
Oh, it's always respectful in this league. That's the thing about this league and this championship. Everybody's a lot respectful for everybody, no matter what your ability is. Um, Never seen any kind of issues at all tonight. Um, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself here. That's the main thing.
And next week, a track that surely a driver with your experience knows very very well, Road America. What are your thoughts on the next race?
Well, like I said every other week, I'll just take each track as it comes. You keep going on about the amount of experience I've got. Okay, I've driven loads and loads of tracks and loads of different other cars and that. But when it comes down to racing and racing against the type of drivers we've got here, it's a whole different story. You've got to try and up your game 2 or 3 notches. Maybe I can't do that now. It's maybe getting to the stage that I've got to start to learn. I can't do that kind of laps that these guys are doing. Like I said, I'm trying my goddamn best, but it just doesn't seem to be good enough, and we'll just have to see what happens.
So, well, Scott, thank you very much for joining us. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, it's got to be the Team Mad guys. I'm driving with the colours on the car, so obviously I've got to give them a mention. And just everybody else that's racing this series, and obviously you guys for take your time to broadcast it and commentate on it.
Thank you very much, Scott. And yeah, catch you next week. Have a good night.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you too as well. Good night. Bye bye.
And that was Scott Malcolm, of course. And last but not least, Sam, it's the boss.
Yes, Ian, the 11th placed Roots. I'm going to keep on saying that until it gets old, and I realise it got old last season. But I mean, yeah, it's going to keep on saying it. Congratulations, Ian. I mean, a decent recovery in the end. Certainly not a perfect race. Let's take it from the starts. Just take us through the incident that you involved in with the first few laps.
Well, I messed up qualifying and was way too far back. I thought, right, okay, I'll just sit and watch it all unfold. Well, within the first lap, I think it did unfold, and it unfolded in front of me, but it left me nowhere to go. I had to go across the grass. Went across the grass. I think it was in the second chicane under the bridge, and then had a slowdown. Of course, by the time I'd served my slowdown, all those cars I'd overtaken in the carnage had gone back by me again. So I was back to square one. I think I lost 8 spots, and it literally just I didn't have great pace. I was doing 35s, I think, which is nothing compared to some guys. But I know my consistency always pays off. and then I could see people pitting early. And I thought, well, if you pit early, you're going to get stuck in the lead traffic because I could see it on my track map. And I decided to stay out till the last second, just literally before Martin caught me. And I managed to jump 3 or 4 in the pit stop phase. And then it all happened in the last corner. Did you see it?
No, I don't think we did.
I overtook 8 cars on the last 2 laps.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
What? I
it
can't
was
believe it.
chaos. It was utter chaos.
I think we saw a little bit of it.
I think Dries ran out of fuel. I think he must have been the first place bronze driver at the time.
Yes, he was. Yep.
Yeah, he ran out of fuel, so I knew I got him on the penultimate lap. And then there was 5 cars in front of me fighting for 20th. And we came into the final chicane on the final lap, and it all kicked off. I don't know what happened, but I came out of the chicane to find 3 cars on one side of me and 2 cars on the other side of me, and I drove through the middle. And I made up 5 places in the last corner. So I ended up I ended up in 20th, which was far better than I expected.
Well, absolutely. I mean, who needs 59 minutes when you can all get it done in the last 60 seconds?
Yeah,
Well done.
exactly.
Yeah, well done to that. Also, first of the drivers who won that down. I mean, I don't know if that's much of a record, but I mean, still, you got that for yourself. And for the championship, for the team championship in the end, which I think a lot of the drivers are paying attention to this season, who's your teammate and how are you doing in that championship?
Sebastian's my teammate. I think he had a DNF in the first round. So it was only me that scored points. So he only had 39 points from last week. He finished a few places ahead of me tonight. So we actually did quite well. We're in gold. We're going to be last or second to last in the team championship. For us, or for me personally, it's I just want to get across the finish line in every race and try and finish inside the top 20. Last season it was inside the top 15. This season's inside the top 20. So that's the goal for the season. And if I can do that at the end of the season, then I'll be really pleased.
Absolutely, I'm sure you'll rack up plenty of points for that. Congratulations, Ian, on your result then today. Before you let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just you guys, obviously. Just quickly before I go, who did you guys award driver of the day to? I need to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Lewis Ward, and thanks for calling us horses.
No problem. Okay, Lewis. Well, congratulations, Lewis, on driver of the day. That's fantastic. Yes. So just just the sponsors do a great job, and obviously all the guys in the team behind the scenes, and obviously all the drivers. Montreal, not a favourite track of many people, but it was community voted in this season. And to get over 42, 43 drivers in tonight, fantastic. Yeah, strength to strength. We're moving on, and off to Road America next week. Looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Ian, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, take care. Thanks, guys.
I will just add those votes, that community vote. I may have sent in a few forms for Montreal. So to say, just saying, Montreal, it's a good circuit. Why don't people want to visit here? Fantastic action today. Hopefully, we'll visit it more in future seasons. But Marco, great start to the season, of course. Spa and Montreal, a little bit contrasting rounds, I'd say. But next week at Road America, another very different circuit, a slipstream circuit, a classic amongst GT3 drivers, a track where everyone's going to feel very comfortable at, unlike here. And I mean, this season just keeps getting better and better, and particularly in the silver and bronze classes. I mean, really difficult to call who's going to win each round.
Yeah, I watched, I showed and watched the replay of the end of the race, by the way, while you were interviewing
Yes, I
Ian.
saw that.
It seems like they stopped to let him by because it's the boss and you don't want to get in his way, no. So all jokes aside, I mean, yeah, it's going to be great. Road America is one of those tracks that, just like here, it's impossible. If you make a mistake, you pay for it, but it's a completely different racetrack. You get every kind of corner, and as a fan of racing, born and raised in Europe, and we think that Europe is the epicenter of racing when you grow up here. We often overlook these North American racetracks, but I tell you that, in my opinion, Road America is among the 3 to 5 best tracks in the world, all things considered. So I'm very, very excited for this championship to be there. A track that throws everything that it can throw at you, and it does so in a natural way. It's not like a racetrack that designed, and then on paper and then put, I mean, some of the very good racetracks of our days, like Turkey, for example, they have been done artificially. This is, of course, completely different. And, of course, the section there of the kink, Carousel Kink and Canada Corner, we're going to see some great action next week on the iRacing Esports Network.
Yeah, it's going to be quite spectacular, I'm sure. Like Michael was saying, Road America, a favourite amongst many drivers. We'll be back, of course, next week. Of course, if you wouldn't mind, please leave a like on this video, and of course also subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network, because there's plenty of other action. Of course. And of course, Apex Racing TV as well are broadcasting a lot. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. We're broadcasting all of them. So certainly do keep on checking. Put your the notifications thing on, and then you can tell when we are going live. And also subscribe to the Apex Racing TV YouTube. Of course, super appreciate that one. But for now, from me and from Marco, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.